Sorry, I'm short. I'm vertically challenged.
That's all right.
Joseph Yang, 12925 Johnston Road. Just want to talk a little about the property on 4151 West Territorial that you guys just voted to redeem. What I found out is that there's going to be a potential boat launch there and potentially a location for Novi Energy to dispel or expel their wastewater to. In my research, I found that the township has spent thousands of dollars suing the alleged landowner, Brian Molding. In addition, they've spent $2,800 to clean up the property, which happened after foreclosure. So that is the bill that is the township's bill to pay. And so that cannot be put on anybody else to redeem. What I would like to point out is that the township lists the property under Brian Molding, and it was conveyed to him in 2014. But when you go to the county register of deeds, it actually still lists K. Moffitt as the owner. So the township and the county are not shaking hands correctly. Something's wrong here. The township says in 2014, a warranty deed was conveyed. Nothing was filed with the county, and K. Moffitt died in 2010. So I don't know how she could have conveyed a warranty deed to somebody when she was dead. Mr. Molding was only renting that property. He was not the rightful property owner. So it begs the question, why were we suing somebody who is not the rightful property owner? And someone who was on the board and the planning commission knew that he was somebody who wasn't going to pay these fines and costs. So what I would like is to ask that the board not put in a boat launch. I know you guys talked about, you guys don't have any current plans, but that's already been out there. Because any major change in the landscape of our township is going to signify to us as residents that you're prepping for the power plant. So any major change that, even though it may not be, that's what it's going to be perceived as. Next, I'd ask that you go back to the attorney or the zoning person, the clerk, or whoever did the research about who the rightful owner of this property is and why this litigation started for the wrong person. Because whoever did that needs to pay, and I'm talking about dollars, back to the township. Because this is money that's gone that we won't get back unless it's recouped in that manner. Lastly, I ask that this board not work with Novi to bring a power plant here. It is true that you cannot put up undue obstacles for them, but I ask that you stop helping them. Let them dig their trench. Don't grab your shovel and get in there to help them either. Thank you.
Skip Hipshire.
Skip Hipshire, 4100 Brawwell Road. Over 50 years ago, Robert F. Kennedy delivered a speech at the University of Kansas. A very short extract from that speech is something I would like to quote now. Quote, "But even if we act to erase material poverty, there is another greater risk. It is to confront the poverty of satisfaction, purpose, and dignity that affects us all. Too much and for too long, we seem to have suffered personal excellence and community values in a mere accumulation of material things. I hold in my hand this evening a collection of emails, reports, and legal bills that are extremely revealing. They tell a story of poor management, vindictive behavior, misleading statements to our township, and an overwhelming indictment of this township's elected officials and their misuse and abuse of their official powers. We are spending approximately $2,400 per month in the form of legal bills, brought about by way of an abundance of calls to our township attorney, the majority of which come from our code enforcement officer. We have spent thousands of dollars developing a case against the previous township clerk, almost as much trying to punish a local businessman. And we have spent several $1,000s trying to make a vagrant living in a condemned trailer clean up his mess. Why? In a recent letter from the executives, one of the executives of Novi Energy, referred to by you, Mr. Township Supervisor, Mr. Haas stated in pertinent part, by the way, it's 8 pages in on the documents that you all have, quote, "It is with the encouragement and the assistance from you, Mr. Supervisor, and the others that brought us to the position to bring Cornerstone to the Rives Township." Why? Because our supervisor was disappointed over the fact that our area missed out on a previous power plant proposal. It is my hope that our township is tired of suffering from a poverty of satisfaction, that we will all come together to discuss going to the County Board of Elections to petition the community for a recall election and send this current township board packing.
Ursula Hart.
Ursula Hart, 12805 Berryville Road. Skip just mentioned the poverty of satisfaction, and tonight I want to tell you that I am not satisfied with this township board. It appears they have forgotten who elected them and who they are representing. Far too long we have put up with bad attitudes from our township officials. We've been faced with cameras pointing at us instead of at the township board. Last week I walked into the township office with a FOIA and appeals paperwork. Handed my paperwork in, was told by the township clerk, Judy, she was too busy to stamp the paperwork, and I requested it to be done. Later she states I'm demanding. Last time I knew, the township clerk's job was to date stamp all paperwork coming into that township office. We have allowed ourselves to be spent into a hole by a township board who has failed to deliver their promise of transparency. I have given you a copy of the township legal bills to this community tonight. These copies are mine, and I have paid for them. I have made them available to see what our township officers have been up to. They are a sad testimony to a weak board and a community taken to the brink of division over a power plant none of us wanted. I second the thought of holding a community meeting to discuss re-election. I am also going to request a state audit for this township. I am also going to be turning over paperwork to the AG's office for review. This is going to make our community a better place. I'm only sorry to have allowed this board to be in office as long as you have been, working independently against the community rather for us. I hope community members will come together as one to make the change that is needed, for transparency is the rule, and meeting the needs and wishes of the community members as a whole. I will not be satisfied any longer, and I hope the members of this community feel the same way. There has to be a better way, or else we all live in the poverty of satisfaction. And I want to let you know, I did not get my fire barn response back tonight either, that I put in to have at this board meeting. You've addressed my 2 appeals that you have denied, and I've also asked for a fire barn rental that has not been addressed. So this is where we're headed, guys. Recall is where we're going, and the AGs.